What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bodacious Rant with Burn and Rye. Hope everybody's doing good. We are now in the month of May. Hope everybody, had a great May weekend. May the 4th be with you. Cinco de Mayo and Revenge of the 6th. I know I wore my Star Wars shirt into work today. Yeah, just because, Bo-Katan, of House Kryze and all that stuff. But we're not talking about Star Wars or our adventures of Cinco de Mayo. We are talking about a movie I've been looking forward to since I heard about it, and especially since one of my favorite actors is in it. A couple of them, really. And that is the newest movie from David Leitch, The Fall Guy, starring Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Winston Duke, Stephanie Hsu, Hannah Waddingham. Just a slew of great actors. And this is a non-spoiler review as well. So, of course, if you like the video, please give us a thumbs up. Ring the bell if you want to stay up to date for notifications, and of course subscribe. We really appreciate you guys. Try to grace you guys with good content and good vibes. So, if you're ever feeling down or you just want to laugh at somebody dumb, you could always watch us. Let's think about that. But anyways, so this movie is David Leitch has gone on record, and a lot of them have, especially Ryan Gosling, have said this is a homage to the stunt community. And I want to say within at least the last 10 years, I think the stunt community is finally starting to get their due. Ever since John Wick, I feel like that's when the movement really started. Again, I could be wrong, so for those of you who are hardcore behind the scenes people, feel free to correct me in the comments. That's education for me. But Ryan Gosling plays a really talented stunt performer. He has it all, a great career. He's got a good lady, Emily Blunt, who starts out as a camera operator. And then due to a fateful accident, he kind of gets down, but then he's rehired as a stunt person, and the woman he loves is now the director of this big action movie that's supposed to be the Oscar winner and all that stuff, and that's Emily Blunt. And essentially he goes to Australia and has to not only do the job, but he also has to find the lead actor, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, and that's pretty much all I could say without spoiling any further. And this movie just does not disappoint. I know, Bern, we talked about it in our private conversations. I loved it. This was like the Nice Guys, from Ryan Gosling's movie with Russell Crowe. That movie's hilarious. So if you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. It's got some violence and nudity, so if you're a little on the iffy side, just forewarning you. But I haven't laughed this hard in the theater in a while. Emily Blunt, she has such great chemistry with him, and she really knows, this is just those movies that reminds me, these people need to keep doing comedies. Emily Blunt needs to do more. Ryan killed it on Barbie last year and killed it again in this one, and the cast really just comes together just to make this a fun, action-packed, but just a great comedy. But Bern, what did you think of this movie?
Look, I really had a ton of fun with this movie, and this kind of feels like the movie that's really kind of ushering in the summer blockbuster, or the summer era for movies. I know we've had a few movies within the last few months, but this kind of feels like it's really the one to lead into all the rest of the movies that we're going to be getting in the next few months, especially because this one feels kind of like a throwback, to old blockbusters where you have adventure, you have comedy, and you have a romantic aspect to it too. It kind of has all those pillars that made blockbusters of the early 2000s and the 90s a whole lot of fun for everybody, and this one definitely has a little bit of something for everyone, I will say. Like you mentioned, Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt are both fantastic in this movie. I 100% agree that they both should continue to do comedies. Ryan Gosling seems to be sort of in that groove as of late, like you mentioned, with last year's Barbie, and now this, and yeah, even from things like The Nice Guys, it seems like he's really getting into his fun era and a little bit of his action star era, in terms of the roles that he's deciding to take, which is cool for us, because like you, I'm a big fan of his. I really like his more indie stuff, but to sort of jump into the spotlight here and really be a leading man for these types of movies, I think he's doing a really good job of that, and I think he hits all the marks on this movie, both comedic and action wise. I think he nails it down pretty well. David Leitch, as a director, continues to be pretty surprising in a lot of the the movies that he's decided to do ever since splitting off after the first John Wick. Him and Chad Stahelski, who both worked on that first one. Chad has kind of stayed and done the rest of the John Wick movies up to this point, but David Leitch has like really branched off and really done a lot of very different stuff. Even though they all have that sort of action edge to them, they all have a little bit of something different. Like, Atomic Blonde was a lot more serious and like spy espionage. Deadpool, like a superhero movie, in that sense. And then with this one and Bullet Train, he's really leaning into the more like comedic senses. I don't think he has completely nailed those comedic senses down. Even as much fun as I had with the Bullet Train, that movie didn't really know to like how do I say it? The pacing of like the banter and the back and forth between characters didn't work as well as I thought it should have in that movie. And that kind of is the same thing here, where I think we have a lot of things that should be funny, at least for me, in terms of the dialogue back and forth, that didn't really land. It was more so the physical and the situational comedies aspect of it that really worked for me on this one. Whereas, a lot of the back and forth banter didn't really work for me. Although I will say, I mean, Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling could have chemistry with a wooden plank because they're both just that charismatic, and so they make the scenes work. It's just there were certain times where I was like, oh, I think they were expecting a laugh on that line or that back and forth, and it didn't really hit for me. But again, all of the other aspects of it, in terms of the comedy stuff, did, like the physical comedy and really working them into the stunts. Kind of gave it that sort of like Charlie Chaplin feel, of the old physical, action comedies type stuff.
Yeah, and when I was very surprised you told me that. Like I said, I was dying laughing the entire time for the most part. Again, the chemistry, the dialogue, it all worked for me. The stunt scenes were very well done. I think this is definitely a movie to help. Like, if there was ever an argument for the Oscars to have like a stunt or like like action kind of awards, I think this is one of those movies that should kind of put it up there. Now we've had the John Wick movies, the Marvel movies, the Raid movies from 2014 and 2015, or 2012 and 2014. Just the list could go on and on. We could talk about this all night long, but hopefully the Academy can open their minds up a little bit. Having said all that, I loved it. This is already one of my favorite movies of the year right now, and that's a hard 5 out of 5 for me. Yeah, what can I say? Ryan Gosling, just keep doing the comedies. Emily Blunt, do more comedies. It's always nice to have. Winston Duke, Hannah Waddingham, and Aaron Taylor Johnson, they all killed it as supporting cast. They all had their little zingers and their extra little pieces of dialogue and moments that just all contributed very well. So I would definitely see this again. I don't know how much longer it's going to be in IMAX, just because now we're getting to the summer season. There's bigger movies coming out, so it's still worth the watch nonetheless.
I mean, yeah, look, in terms of the whole conversation with Hollywood and getting, some sort of recognition for the stunt crews on all these movies, I think this movie definitely makes a really good case in the sense that Hollywood tends to like movies about Hollywood, and because this movie is very much about making movies, and all the behind the scenes stuff. I think this one really makes a strong case for that aspect. Really putting the stunt coordinators and the stunt performers in the forefront of this movie, and like really showcasing all the work that they do behind the scenes to, again, make these action movies that we watch every year the awesome things that they are. Really, like you mentioned, since the John Wick movies, this conversation has been going, and it feels like now it's sort of like embracing that directly, not just sort of like putting out a fantastic movie with stunts in it. It's like, oh no, we're gonna make that the actual point of this movie. So yeah, hopefully that sort of gets that thing going, because I think it's a little bit long overdue for those people to get sort of the credit that they deserve. Yeah, I mean, look, this is a really fun movie. People were asking me, who would I recommend it to? And I'd say this is one for everybody. Like I mentioned, this is a real throwback to the blockbusters of old that sort of have that 4-quadrant effect, appealing to all these different demographics, and everyone looking for something. Again, there's action, there's romance, there's comedy, and overall it's just a great time at the movies. And it feels like this is the movie that's ushering in the summer fest, that we're going to be getting here in the next few months. So yeah, I had a good time with it. I do again have some issues with it where certain comedic things didn't land for me. But look, comedy and horror is like one of those things where it really depends on the taste. And some things didn't hit for me, but a lot of other things did, and I had a great time with it overall. But for me, this one is going to be a 3 out of 5. Again, I felt the same way walking away from this one that I felt from Bullet Train. So all those sort of criticisms sort of appeal on like they also sort of carry over on this one. But overall, I think if you watch this movie, you're going to have a good time with it. And yeah, if you want to watch it on the biggest screen as possible, that's going to only increase your enjoyment even more.
Very fair, Bernie. Very fair. For those of you who did happen to catch it this weekend, please let us know what you thought in the comments. We'd love to keep the conversations going. But now we're going May and June so far. Have movies I'm really looking forward to. Like we got Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes coming out. Furiosa later this month. Next month is going to be Bike Riders. And I forgot what else. There's going to be a couple other things. But, and we also got shows coming back in June. So crazy content coming at us this coming months and summers. So yeah, until next time, everyone, just stay bodacious and keep on ranting for us.
Absolutely, everybody. Be good, be safe, and as always, we'll catch you on the next one.